going to do, I want you to start off by reading something from the book. Anything that's meaningful to you.
Janice, you will have to do the reading. I don't have my glasses. They're there somewhere, but not reading. So you do the reading. Why don't I tell you?
This was not planned. This was not planned. I'm going to go. Can you do a reading?
Seriously.
How is this?
I think the chapter 1 is very, very.
Okay, what would you like me to read?
It's 13 reasons to read.
Okay.
I think the first, second, third reasons.
Pushing it. How many should I read? How many should I read?
Definitely 1, 2, 3.
Okay. 13 reasons why you should be reading. 1, to be entertained. Yeah? Do we all love books? Yes. Awesome. Number 2, to be transported into new worlds. Yes. And number 3, to understand people and the world. Yes. These are good enough reasons. But I wanted to start off by saying that, when you were writing this book, what did you realize about how your thought process and writing process had evolved?
So, first of all, this was I didn't think I would be writing a book so soon, because for me, writing a book was associated with a lot of time alone and, with yourself, and which, frankly, after 2018 and after going through my, journey with my disease, I was not really keen on spending time alone.
Yeah.
But the beauty of this book was that it was in collaboration with my book club. And hence, the team was beautiful. Tina at HarperCollins came up with this idea. It was her baby, and she convinced me about it. And so, and I was like, interacting with her and with my book club. So it was a collaborative effort, and that was beautiful about it. So I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel lonely while writing this book.
But did you feel at some place that you had evolved in your style of writing?
I did not want it to be like a lecture. So I wanted it to be more fun, and so you can see that we have illustrations, and so the writing is more casual. Which even when I wrote my first book, the idea was to keep it very not keep it like a lecture, not keep it like like you're preaching something, but more like what is my experience in it. And I've tried to follow that here also, which is. The whole point of starting a book club was that I had gone off reading, and which happens to most of us in today's day and age, because we are scrolling through this 20-second content constantly, and that's what our attention span has come down to. And so we all find it, and most of us, I'm sure there are some lucky ones who have still stuck to it, but it was challenging for me to kind of find that discipline to read an entire book. And because I wanted to get back to it, is how the book club started.
Yeah.
The book club started with the intention that I will have to read a book because I have to discuss it with the book club members. And it's 8 years of Sonali's book club, one of the biggest digital book club in South Asia.
Do we have any of your book club members here today?
Yes, they're all here. There they are.
Everyone who's part of Sonali's book club, put your hands up. Special shout out to you guys.
Come on, nuts. Hi, girls. Yeah. So, so the book was part of that, and we keep recommending on SBC. So we just thought that we would go in a little more deeper, because a lot of people and a lot of feedback that we would keep getting, a lot of parents would ask me, how do we get our children to read nowadays? And it was a challenge for me, because I was a reader, but my son was not, and it was a challenge. And what I realized while bringing him up was that it's not about everybody doesn't have to be, be in love with reading, and every child is not in love with reading. But it can be inculcated, and it doesn't have to be like a lesson. It can be fun. How do you make it fun? What was my journey in doing that? So from there, it started with what was my journey in getting back to reading, getting back to the discipline of long reads. So, and then there are a lot of people who say that, I've never been a reader, but I really want to start reading. And for all of these kind of people, I thought this would be a book that could be on your bookshelf. Also, I thought this was a book that could be lovely for people to keep coming back to, keep giving it as a gift, because this is something that you can keep going to, and at different points of time, you'll find different recommendations which will always be of interest to everybody.
You know what I loved is that the book has so many little journaling pages. You write down things that you've thought about books. Where did this template come from or this format come from? Because I thought it was so interesting. Like for someone who's just getting into reading, it would be nice to put your thoughts down somewhere, right? How did that come about?
And if you see the journaling places that are there, it's not very long. It's little things. So the point being that the moment you have to write an essay, you're not interested in it. But also, with my first book, it started off from, because I would keep writing down the points. And some of my friends who are here with me today, they were like, listen, you should write a book on that, you know, like you have all these points and you should be writing about it.
Wait, you'd be writing meaning? Like
I would write down what were my experiences, what was my takeaway from, what was my thought process while I was bringing up my child, and what was my, what would you say, the answer to the experiment that I was conducting, if I can say that, you know. So, and how it was evolving, and modern Gurukul came out of that, you know, and it was just the beginning of digital invasion of our lives. YouTube had just been born with my son, and now it's like 20 generations down, because every 2 years it's a new generation. Now when I look back, at that point we were still in a better place than what today's parents are in. The world is moving so fast. So that's where it started from, and I used to write these points down, and you know, then eventually it all fell into place. So the idea was that rather than writing long pieces, you know, you just have those little thoughts, and if you could write them down just to go back to it. I also had a habit everywhere when I would read a book, I always had a pencil and I always wrote what I was feeling in the margins, you know, on the sides. And the beauty of that was that whenever you went back to your bookshelf and when you took that book down, and you would I would wonder, why did I write this? And suddenly it was like a diary without writing a diary, and it showed me my state of mind. So the idea of this book is that when you write it down now, and if you pick it up later and you look at it, and you will just wonder, what made me think of that? What was I going through at that time? Because books, I feel, are about what you're feeling at that time, and it's the connection that you feel with them because of what you're feeling at that time.
But Sonali, how lovely it must be then to receive a book from you, because I'll just be reading the book that you've gifted me and I'll be like, oh, this is what she was thinking. Has that happened? Have you lent your book to someone and they'll be like, bro, what is this?
You know, I stopped writing when 2 books got stolen from the sets, and I said, no, I'm not writing anymore. This is too personal.
Are you writing scandalous stuff in that book?
Well, it was not scandalous, but it was still really your innermost thoughts, and like, I mean, contrary to what I might appear, I'm a very, very private person, and you know, so that was really not happening. So since then, I started curbing myself, and either I just stopped writing in the book.
Which 2 books?
I don't remember the names.
I want to know the names of the book. Maybe she wrote something odd. Okay. Yeah. But since you said that
could be a little scandalous also, you never know.
Never know. But since you said that, you know, Ranveer doesn't read, have you now managed to successfully influence your friends and family into reading?
Oh yes, a lot of them.
Does Goldie read?
So what we realized, I don't know if he's going to be okay with it, but I suppose he's not here, so I hope he never hears.
He'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
He'll be okay with it. Goldie will be okay with it.
So we realized that Goldie was dyslexic. And at that point of time, as a child, it was always a challenge in school. But now with audibles and you know, it's a whole different world, and now he's a voracious listener.
Love it.
If I can say that.
Love it. I love that. To everyone who's paying attention, I want to hear a nice round of applause. That's much better.
Huh? For Goldie's dyslexia.
No, she cracks really bad jokes sometimes.
Okay.
Should we get back to it?
Yes.
Okay, let me take you back a little bit. Like when you got into reading, do you remember what kind of books you were reading and who influenced you into reading?
Well, definitely my parents, because that's what was given to us. The gifts were always books.
Say your sisters, they're sitting
right here.
here.
Right here. They are also readers, and for us, we were always given books. You were taken to a bookstore on birthday, and you can buy whatever you want. But I'm like, what about the toy store? No, it's the bookstore. So that was what it was. You know, the gifts were always books. My uncles and all also, when they came and they were visiting, and you know, बच्चों के लिए खिलौने लेके आते हैं या कुछ गिफ्ट लेके आते हैं. So they would come, and you know, I would be like, lot of uncles and aunts come and they get this money, and you know, maybe I can go and get something. And they're like, no, it's not the money. Come on, let us take you to a bookstore. Whatever you want to pick up. So it was always books, and that's how, that's what I remember of my childhood, you know, being
And
surrounded
what genre
by books.
of book were you reading at that time?
So different books. I don't remember when I started, but so my father was in the central government services. So every 2 years we were in a new place, new school, new friends. So the only thing constant was my parents, my sisters, and my books. So which, you know, was a little trunk that we carried, dog ear, do you remember? And you know, they got passed down from each one of us to each other, and then there were fights between I want to read that and you want to read the book exactly when I want to read it. Can't you read the other book? That was a fight, yeah.
I love it, you're fighting over books.
Yeah, that's what we did. Yeah, there were some
No
times.
one can hear you. Can we get another mic? Do we have another mic?
No, what she's saying is that, and I had forgotten that, we also used to do that, you know, both of us, if we wanted to read the same book at the same time, then, you know, she was reading a page later, I was reading, and so we would sit together and be reading the same book. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen anymore, thank God.
Because now you can read it on Kindle, on, you know, something
Wait, are you
else.
more of a, like, you know, you need a paperback, you need a hardcover, or do you prefer the Kindle sort of?
So I read different books on different...
Just like me, same also, yeah.
So there are certain genres that I like on Audible, there are certain genres that I like on Kindle, and there are certain that you have to hold the book for certain books.
Yeah.
And I mean, like for me, A Gentleman in Moscow, I just saw the book there, and it has such amazing memories with it. That's a book. You have to hold it and read it. You know, it deserves to be held in a physical form.
Also, this book, I mean, I was just thinking about it. Logically, this is the only way you can use this book, because it's actually a practical workbook along with being a book.
Yeah.
Just so like, intelligent in that sense that you need to carry this book along.
You know
with
what
you.
happens is that what I realized was that the moment you buy a few books, the algorithms are giving you the same suggestions.
On Kindle, right? Yeah.
On Kindle and whatever, the algorithm is just taking over, and sometimes you're just stuck in that same rut, and then you want to break out of it. So the idea is to have this physical book, and when you're stuck in an algorithm, just go back to it, find some other genre and try it out. That's the idea.
I want to come back to Sonali's book club, because you guys have completed 8 years. You know, other than, of course, the help that you've gotten on this book and the recommendations you've got, just to have this community, because I feel like that's a community that's dying now, a community of people who love books. I often am like at a loss of friends to constantly go like, hey, get this book, or, you know, share what your latest recommendation is. What does it mean for you to have and created that community, which is now 8 years old?
So the beauty about the Sonali's book club is it's digital, which means that the paraphernalia, you know, usually with book clubs, and as women, I don't know how many women here will agree, and sometimes it's good, but not for me. What happens is it becomes more of a tea party rather than a reading experience. And then either you're making it there, you're not going, it's nothing wrong with it, you know, it's great if you have the time, but sometimes if you don't have the time for that kind of paraphernalia, then you end up not being part of a book club. And I thought that was not fair. So, you know, there are certain good things about social media, and I thought this was the best way to use social media. It's a tool which can be amazing, it's just the way we use it.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a great way to use social media, form a book club, connect with people, and form a community. This community has seen me through so many things. It has been my backbone through my illness also. They've been, you know, there. So there's a lot that I depend on, and the book club is lovely for all of that. Also, a lot of people keep asking you about recommendations and you know, what should we read? And there are a lot of times when we are thinking about it also. So it's lovely to kind of have a place where you can go and see and just swipe through it. You don't have to be reading the book that we are reading that month. You could go and read some other book which has been there in the past years and say, oh, I didn't read this, let me go back to it. Also, the other thing that happened with book club was that a lot of schools, students, teachers, educators keep getting in touch with us and asking us for recommendations and stuff like that. So that was also one of the inspirations for this book, where you make it easier. And the beauty of the book club, other than the fact that we are discussing a book and we are reading a book and discussing them, was also the fact that I could get in touch with people who were like-minded. And there were a lot of people. I mean, I have a friend here who does beautiful work with Angel Express, and they teach children in the garden. They're teaching them English and math and everything, just to be able to, you know, encourage those children, you know, build libraries for them and stuff like that. I mean, just to give an example,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's lovely. So this is the kind of people you can get in touch with, and what is the need of the day. There's so many more schools that are getting in touch with us. With
You know, I was
over
just
all of
thinking
this.
when you were saying that what a lovely idea it would be to be, as part of your book tour maybe, to also go to schools and talk to children. And I know if you guys have already thought that, but it would be so
Yeah.
nice, right, to talk to the next generation about like, hey, you know, books aren't
Yeah,
that bad.
yeah.
Get off your phones.
No, and they're quite happy to start reading. You know, if they're given the opportunity, they're quite happy to start reading. We just need to give them a little time, you know, with children, because of course we have to compete with something which is so colorful and moving all the time. So it takes time and it takes a little more effort than what our parents needed.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no TV in my house, and maybe a radio, which again, you know, was like no radio now, and it's reading time now, and it was easy. There was nothing else to do. You were so bored, you were reading. But for parents today, it's a challenge because there's so much happening that we get distracted too.
100%. I mean, brain rot, doom scrolling, all very real things. But you know, I also want to talk to you about your writing process, because even with all the help and support that you do get from your community and you know from your team, at the end of it, some parts of it are very solitary.
Yeah.
How do you like sort of, you know, because I know that a lot of writers are like, oh my god, I'm just staring at a blank page on my laptop and wondering how to start.
So thankfully this book is much more easier in that sense, because you know you make a list of the genres that you want to feature,
Yeah.
the books that you want to feature, then it's a matter of editing what you don't want in, and then no, I want more books in, no, this is all that we can fit in.
Are you
know,
saying you
the
didn't
kind of
get
a
any
thing.
pressure from your editor
Of
saying,
course
"Kab
we
de
did.
rahe
Yes,
ho?"
of course we did all of that. So the best time was morning, when it was early morning, when it was quiet, and so Bhavna was the backbone of my book club, who's in the US right now. So the thing is that in between all of this, she moved to US. So she would send me the feedback, and I would in the morning have 5,000 voice notes for her. And there's Bhavna. Hi, Bhavna.
Hi, Bhavna. We're just talking about you.
Yeah. So I wish you were here, but anyway. So she's an integral part of it, and so you know I would have a lot of feedback for her, and you know what did I feel from I don't like the illustration to we need to try many more to everything. And then she would I would go to work, and you know she was sleeping. So the time I mean we utilized the time difference really well, and that was the process.
I'm going to ask a question that I know you don't want me to ask. When are you planning your next book now?
I don't know.
Okay, but we do have some rapid fire questions.
Oh no, I hate
and I'm
rapid
gonna
fire.
put 15 questions I'm going to ask you
You know,
about
we're
books.
talking about books where we are saying slow down, long read.
Okay,
you know, not
15
20-second
recommendations.
content, and she comes with rapid fire.
Recommendations. Okay, sure. So now you ready?
For recommendations, what is the book for?
She's
People
not
that read
letting
the
me
book.
ask my questions.
I hate rapid fire.
Okay, what's the best compliment you've gotten for your writing skills?
What do you mean by rapid fire? That means how many seconds do I have, or do I have some minutes?
You take as long as you want.
Oh,
Apply
she
it,
said
समझो. Okay, first question. What's the best compliment you've been given for your writing skills?
I think the compliment was given by you when you said I'm already through half the book.
Okay, sweet. What's the most difficult to swallow feedback you've gotten for your writing skills? अच्छा नहीं मिला.
Yeah, बहुत मिला भावना ही.
Hi Bhavna.
Yeah.
Saying such lovely things about you.
Yeah, when you know she and Tina also, they would just put their foot down and say no, but we think this is fine
I
now.
met Tina. She
think
doesn't
you will-
look like she's
oh,
going to be
but
so
they
sweet.
are. No, the illustrations are fine now. No, this I think is okay now. It would happen. I think I need a little more time. We've already given you in 6 months. We were supposed to be out with it. It's nearly 2 years now. Sorry. So you know there was a lot of pushback.
Okay, who is someone you turn to as a bouncing board when you're writing?
So with this book, definitely it's been Sonali's book club and my team there, because they have been a huge part of that, and HarperCollins has been obviously a huge part
Yeah.
of that also. So they've all been part of it.
Okay. Name a book you'd recommend to someone who wants to start reading again. Pick one.
You know, now there's a very good reason that we've put in the book, and that is that I can recommend a book, but that should resonate with you. So I would say that the thing to start reading is, what are you feeling right now? What do you feel like listening to right now? And if you can tap into that feeling and pick up a book that resonates with you, then you're more likely to finish the book and get engrossed in it. Books is something that you should read what you feel like reading, what you want to read, not what you should be reading. That's the difference. So
There's not one universal book that you feel like has cracked it. Like this could be someone anyone would want to read.
no, I have not found any one book like that because there's so many feelings.
Is there a classic Sonali Bendre hasn't read yet?
Yes.
Say.
War and Peace.
It's a very difficult book.
Yeah.
How many of you all have read War and Peace? My respect. Moby Dick? My respect. Very difficult book. Moby Dick?
And you know, even Salman Rushdie, amazing writer, but I find very, very...
Your sisters are like, I have read, huh?
Yeah. But I find difficult after a point to continue so...
There is so much more shame, by the way, attached to picking up a book and not being able to complete it than anything else. No one warns you about that.
Yeah, it's what I feel. I remember once, I would tell Goldie that, why do you have to, really not good film, but we're in the theatre, and he would be not walking out at a certain point. I'm like, it's not even a trial, why are we not walking out? He's saying, what do you feel when you leave a book? That's what I feel when I leave a movie.
Fair.
And I'm like, okay, I get it.
Fair. Name a book you've read multiple times over. Like you keep reaching for it.
Oh my God, that's fantasy fiction. There would be some fantasy fiction or the other.
Do you have a favorite? Is it like choosing between favorites?
No, but I don't think I want to share which is my favorite because I actually think that when you tell which is your absolute favorite, it's a huge part of you that you're sharing, and I don't think I want to share it with you. I'll tell you that later.
Now I'm just guessing in my head which one it could
But for me, whenever I want to decompress, I go to fantasy fiction and science fiction. That's my go-to.
That's very interesting. I've never met someone who said fantasy fiction is their decompressing book.
Yeah.
Okay. But any other than fantasy fiction, no other book that you've reread, gone to for inspiration?
Inspiration is different. Again, it depends on what you're feeling.
I'll give you an example. Mine, for example, my comfort read across has been Pride and Prejudice. Multiple times over in every version that it exists. I've given away too much?
No,
it is one of those books, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not mine.
Both your sisters agreed with me, okay?
Yeah. We can have this thing about it. But I think the one that I keep going back to is, and I find different things, is Janice Sequeira by Pratibha Ray. It's a translation. And I just find, because first when I read it also, it's Mahabharata from Draupadi's point of view, and every time I go into it and when I look at it, it just tells you so much about everything in life.
Yeah.
And I love going back to that.
Okay, name a book you wish more people actually knew about.
Ghachar Gochar by Vikram Shanbhag. It's a beautiful book. It's so sharp, short and precise with every word. Just, I don't know how he has managed to convey so much with every single word in it. It's a beautiful translation, and what an author.
Has anyone here read it?
See? Am I right in what I'm saying?
What's the name?
So good. Ghachar Gochar.
I'll take this one too.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite literary character of all time? Now don't say this also reveals too much about you.
No, I won't say that, but I don't know. Can't think of. Who do you think? You tell
She's
me.
asking her sisters, which one?
Yeah, I can't think of. There's so many of them that are really, really interesting. But it would be quite interesting to be the lead in Isabel Allende's stories. Or in a Toni Morrison story. My God, that would be so amazing.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, a little bit. Toni Morrison, yes, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your go-to book genre? I think you already answered that. Is it fantasy fiction most of the time? Okay. What genre do you find hardest to read?
Self-help. I swear, I find it so hard to
Just
read.
kind of say, just reminding you what genre by here.
Oops. Okay, maybe I'm not so good at selling it.
Just reminding you politely.
But maybe I should take that answer back. But some self-help books are really good, like this one. Yeah, some of them are good.
Have you heard of this one? I mean,
Yeah.
damn good.
Some of them are really good. No, but you know what I mean? Sometimes there are a lot of books that come under self-help, and they're literally not even trying to delve into something deeper and are just kind of rambling and talking about things that should be common sense. And making it into a book. So yeah.
I mean, my 2 cents is that the one book we were all told to read in college and school
Was?
about how to
What?
how to make friends. Wala wo book. Everyone remembers?
Which one?
If you go back and reread it now, is it problematic or is it not problematic? It's an interesting topic to debate because have you read it?
No.
Don't, you don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go to my next question before we say more controversial things.
Yeah. Oh.
You're about to be marooned on an island. Which author's books are you taking with you?
So, if I'm going to be marooned, oh my god, can I get a battery back?
No.
Because I want to take the Kindle so I can take a whole library.
I knew this.
with me.
That's what I said no. I'm saying which physical books are you taking with you because you feel like you can just be lost.
Isabella Inde, definitely. I have told you already that I would want to take, I would like to take a gentleman in Moscow. You know, maybe because I'm alone on the island, it's quite dark I should be, but you know, vegetarian, the book, the Korean book, dark but interesting read to break things up. So like
if you've not read
then.
Vegetarian, please do. It's right there. It's honestly again another book that's going to change your life.
Yeah, it's
what a book.
Something else.
And it's not even a long read.
Yeah, it's not. And I would want to take the entire
She's saying it, say.
Wheel of Time, fantasy, R.R. Martin, fantasy.
She gave it away, no? She
One
gave
of
it
my
away.
favorite fantasy fiction writers is someone called Patrick Rothfuss. Have you ever read him?
No. Has anyone else in the crowd?
He's written like some 2 or 3 books only. Please read him. It's amazing the world he creates.
Okay. Say the name again.
For people who are into fantasy fiction, Patrick Rothfuss.
Okay. Patrick?
Rothfuss.
Rothfuss. Okay. Name an author you'd like to hang out with in real life. You think they'd be good company? Me? You're hanging out with yourself every day.
I think it would be interesting because I've never really met him and spoken with him, but Amitabh Ghosh would be interesting.
You've not done it with Amitabh Ghosh?
I have not done one, yes. And you know, Ashok Banker also.
How have you not met these Indian authors?
His Ramayana series was so interesting, especially at the time when I read them, much younger. It was life altering.
You gotta make this happen. These are very doable goals.
Yeah.
Where's the team? Amitabh Ghosh and Ashok Banker.
Yeah. Tina? Yeah.
Is there anyone in the film business who could give you a run for your money with their reading skills?
Not really, but if I have to choose, I would choose Saif.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever sat and discussed books?
But no, it's been a while, but definitely when we were working, it was like, are you reading more books or am I reading more? What have you read? What have I read? I've already read this, have you read it? It was always like that, and he had some great recommendations always.
So Bookworm Sonali was going on set and between, did you ever finish a book, let's say, while you were waiting for a shot?
In 90s, yes, we did that very often while you waited for the lead actor. Yeah, that happened.
Okay, finally, if you had to convince a non-reader to read, what would be your pitch? Whatever it is.
13 Reasons Why Everyone Should Read.
Yeah, great, guys.
The Book of Books.
And with that, it is now time for you guys to ask some interesting questions. So, if you have a question for Sonali, go there. Hi, I see you.
Hello ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your name?
I am Spanish ma'am.
Hi.
So yeah, at the start you mentioned that while jotting down your book, in the journey you were never alone. But reading is considered as sort of a solitary action, where you are always alone. But as your book club, and your book also mentions that it's a shared experience, it's a community. So my questions really revolves around how does the road of reading goes beyond the personal enjoyment. As coming from a background where my culture is more focused around emphasizing upon Indian culture, how does the road of reading connect me to a global perspective?
So a lot of, if you are talking about Indian culture and books coming from Indian culture, and if you can discuss them with people who are reading it with you at home or whatever, It gives you a great, see, books talk about feelings, emotions, they tell you stories. The best thing about reading is that you can live certain lives without actually have to go through the consequences of living them like an actor. I can play a role and not really have to go through all the consequences of it, but enjoy being in that role. That's what books do to you also. So even books from Indian culture will give you a global perspective, because we come from a really, really rich culture and a very varied culture. And if you read only English, nowadays there are amazing translations that are coming out. So you must tap into it. And if you read all the various works that are coming out and which are being translated, I'm sure you'll get a global perspective from those also. And of course, the best thing about any book is to be able to discuss it with a fellow book lover. So if you can find that, and if not, Sonali's book club is always there for you.
Yeah, very important.
Can we get the mic here in the front?
Hi, Priyanka.
So you mentioned Isabel Allende several times, one of my favorite authors as well. I'm just curious, what is it about Isabel Allende, several books mentioned, what is it that resonates with you that deep?
So it was at a time when I was reading Marcus, and I discovered Isabel Allende, and beyond the point, I kind of fell in love with her a little bit more than Marcus. And now when I look back at it, I think it's because there were such strong women characters that she wrote about. And she wrote about them in a very, they were, the backgrounds that she wrote, they were always strife-torn backgrounds, because she came from a country which was going through so much of upheaval. And the women going through all the challenges that women go through and how they found their way through it and had a spine. That, I think, was what drew me to her writings and her characters. And there was always a slight fantasy element to it. And that was also, I love fantasy fiction. So that also kind of drew me, and that's why she kind of became one of my go-to authors.
I mean, she also had a big tragedy in her own life.
Yes, she did. Yeah. The writing kind of changed after that. It was never the same. Hi guys, welcome. Please come.
Go ahead.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you two questions.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first question is that, as you said, that you read a book and you found out.
Sorry?
We were talking about rereading a book.
Yeah.
Like suppose when I was younger, I read a book by Paulo Coelho, and then I read it back, and I was like, I was so naive, I didn't understand the, what do you say, the depth of the book at that time. But has it happened to you? Like after you
Always. A lot of times you go through it and you realize, but that's the thing. Sometimes the things, the lines or that felt so important at that time that you marked them. And at another phase in life when you go and you're like, why have I marked this? This is such a okay and a normal line, and why did I find it so interesting? And then you try to remember why was it interesting at that point of time. And suddenly at the lines that were not so interesting at that point of time now suddenly hold a new meaning for you. And that's the beauty of books,
So it also tells us how much we have grown as a person.
Yes.
And the second question is, do you read Marathi books, and which is your favorite if you read?
No, I don't read Marathi, but my parents do, and there is some amazing books in Marathi. But because I speak Marathi because my parents always answered in Marathi, but I'm not brought up in Maharashtra. So I'm literally started talking more in Hindi and English rather than Marathi. So I've traveled all across the length and breadth of the country. So reading is not, reading was, so I've never studied Marathi. It was more Hindi and English. So reading Marathi, though it's Devanagari script, so I can technically read it, but it's not that smooth. So that joy, it's not the same for me. Yeah.
But have you read any Marathi, translations of Marathi books?
Not that I can remember right now, but definitely. But there's a lot of, because my parents read a lot also, and my parents do read a lot of Marathi. So there's a lot of discussion about the books that goes on. So one has always heard about that. Yeah.
Thank you. So is this some more audio feedback that's happening, no?
Hi, good evening,
Hi.
ma'am. My name is Sarthak, and I come from this organization called as India's International Movement to Unite Nations.
To unite?
To unite nations.
Okay.
My question to you is, You mentioned 13 reasons why everyone should read. So, according to you, which is the one reason which resonates the most with you?
One reason. Well,
should I open the book?
No, you know what? For me, the beauty of books was that it's the cheapest way to travel. You just have to buy a book and you can be transported to another world. As in science fiction, literally you are on another planet. But if not, you can really understand another country, continent, cultures, especially cultures, without actually going and living in that country, continent, or because to understand any other culture, you need to spend a lot of time in that area. But while being in your own room, in the comfort of your house, you can literally travel to that place, understand those people, understand their cultures, and if you ever go there, you can really identify with it because you've read about it, and that's what I feel. That I think is the biggest plus of the books. Also in this book we've added some really nice fun facts about the oldest library or the oldest bookshop. So for me, I think with this book it's like a circle. So where reading for me started as my cheapest way to travel because I was always on a tight budget. So that was the best way for me to travel, to now where when I find these places I now want to aim and plan my travel to, oh, I must go and see this oldest bookstore, oh, I must go and see this library. So in a way life's coming a full circle where travel and reading is kind of going hand in hand for me. I hope that answers your question.
Before I sit down, I'd really like to say that my mother is a huge fan of yours.
Thank you.
And I love your videos, Janice.
Oh, thanks. I was not expecting that. All the boys want to ask questions.
Hello.
Hello, किसने बोला?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Ma'am, I'm Jia and I wanted to ask you if you have traveled a lot, of course. So does it encourage you to know books? Does it encourage your thoughts?
I don't think I've traveled enough, but I definitely want to travel more. And when you go to a new place and if you can find a little bookstore, I want to ask everybody here, have you ever passed an aisle of books without stopping? You can't. So it's the same thing with bookstore. You see a bookstore, you have to stop. And every place, at least it used to be like that, and even now if you can find those little bookstores which are the really old bookstores, they usually are curated by the owners of the bookstore, and that is so beautiful because you always find some gems that you would otherwise not get.
Ma'am, before stopping, I will say I have watched your Hum Saath Saath a lot.
Oh, thank you. I'm absolutely not like Preeti, no. I must tell you that.
Are you soft-spoken and demure?
No. Anything but.
I was going to ask you a follow-up question. Can you go to the airport and fly out without stopping at an airport bookstore?
Nowadays, the airport bookstores have everything other than books, actually. So
that is also true.
That was actually earlier in my life, the best part about traveling was going a little early so I could spend time in the bookstore. Now that's no longer the case. Unfortunately, that's really, really sad.
The downside to that is because I still go and do that and then my bag gets so much heavier and I'm like, didn't use your brain. Sorry, go ahead.
So, hello ma'am, my name is Kavi Shati. So my question is, you have been through so many different phases in your life, like from acting to motherhood. So what is the best experience which reshaped your perspective the most?
Well, obviously motherhood, and because it's a life-altering thing, and after that it changes your worldview, it changes. I mean, I would say that motherhood, it was what taught me fear. And I actually became fearful when I had my child because suddenly there was this life that was dependent on me. I was responsible for this other life. Until then, I always felt I've been responsible for my family. I'm responsible, I'm a responsible person. But a parent is something altogether different. That kind of responsibility is different. And then you suddenly start fearing for the child and you learn what fear is. Then after that, I went through another phase in my life where I learned to stop, Yeah, it is, but like my sister points out, it's lifelong, this fear for your child and
Don't
wanting
you just
to.
say hi at this point?
But having said that, I did go through the other phase in my life. Now I'm trying to overcome that phase and start learning to be fearless again.
We'll do 2 more questions and then wrap up.
Hello ma'am,
Hi.
I'm Shruti, I'm from IIM here. So my question is, do you believe sometimes rather than we choose a book chooses us, and is there any chapter in this book that found us?
Well, I would say most of the things now in life, as I grow older, I realize that most of the time, most of the things around us are choosing us. They come to us because there's a reason why they're coming to us at that point of time. And so, if you're coming across a book, there is a reason why you're coming across that book. There's a need for you to read it at that point of time. So every time you come across a book, give it a try. Try reading it a little bit and you'll find something in it probably that will help you at that moment. And no shame in saying, okay, I got what I wanted and now I want to put it down. It's absolutely fine to do that.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes.
Last question.
Good evening, ma'am.
Oh, wait, okay, that will do it.
It's Vivek Tosniwal here. So I want to ask how your journey has transformation from actor to an author. It's which motivates you to become an excellent author?
I'm still an actor.
Yeah, I was
In
just
fact, I've
gonna
gone
say
back to doing fiction again. So yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying that in this phase also. So I think I'm more of an actor first and author later. I think author is a little bit of a byproduct of me being an actor. And I always feel that I'm very privileged and that I got this opportunity to be an author because I'm an actor. I don't think I would have got this opportunity if I was not an actor, because I don't think I'm such a brilliant author or something. So this definitely being an actor has given me the opening to be an author.
Anything motivates you to become an author?
So I'm always motivated to try different things, and I'm always motivated to try different challenges, because I feel that if I'm not going to be scared, I'm not alive. I mean, that's how I will grow. So whenever I start something and if I feel that, oh my God, I'm going to fall flat on my face. Oh my God, I'm going to make a fool of myself. I know that that thing is going to teach me something, and that means I must do it because I'm going to learn from it. So yeah, there are times when I've fallen on my face, there have been times when I've been laughed at, but you know what, it's been a great journey because that's been a great learning experience for me, so no regrets about it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Last question.
one, yes.
Hi. Can we get her a mic?
Hi, Sonali.
Hi.
How have spiritual books ever been a part of your life? Or have they been transforming to you, or who is your favorite spiritual author?
I saw what you were just browsing there.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I thought as much. But
So I think the only one, as of now, which probably has managed to answer a few questions for me, has been the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
I wanted to give you a gift today, but the book wasn't available. It is The Big Questions of Life by Swami. He's a wonderful author.
Okay.
And all his team have a copy.
I will definitely check it
Yeah,
out.
The Big Questions of Life. And for the youngsters, for your book club, A Fistful of Love, A Fistful of Wisdom.
Oh, beautiful.
It's one page at a time with a beautiful message.
I'm definitely going to use this. Thank you,
The
ma'am.
Wellness Sense is a very good book.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to definitely look.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
so
wanted
much.
to share.
And I wish you all the best for your journey also. Thank you. Thank you.
You've been my strength.
Thank you so much.
guys, you've been a wonderful audience, and Sonali, as usual. It's always so fun chatting with you. How are you
Thank
feeling
you,
now
Janice.
after it's been like launched and now you're talking about it? What are you hoping actually happens once people pick up this book and start sharing feedback with you?
Well, I really, really hope that our coming generations love books and read a lot more, because I definitely feel that when you read and the worlds and the characters that you read about just makes you more of a compassionate person, more of an empathetic human being.
Yeah.
And I think we need our children to be that. We need more of that in the world. And I think readers are always more compassionate and more empathetic. They have broader worldview, broader horizons. So definitely, I really wish world became more of everybody in world became more of a reader, so that they could have more empathy, more compassion, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Thank you for being such a champion. And ladies and gentlemen, Sonali, Bendre, Behl. And this is a book of books.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.